Alright, so they gave you the boot. They had you escorted out. Now what? Let's get it.
Time to get paid, blow up like I'm blowing up like you thought I would. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. And if you don't know, I'm blowing up like you thought I would. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. Promise it's all good. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. And if you don't know, I'm blowing up like you thought I would. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. It's all good. Get paid, get paid, blow up like I'm blowing up like you thought I would.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is J8. Don't look over my shoulder. See my garbage can and stuff. Yo, let me get this out of here. All that fix this right quick. Sorry about that glare. Listen, this is JH. And the J stand. We're not gonna get into that. We're gonna get right into the story. We're gonna get right into the message. The message at hand. The message at hand is I got fired. Okay, I got fired. They escorted me out the building. Now what? All right, gentlemen sent me some stuff this morning. Thank you. It was really early in the morning. Why are you still awake at that time, brother? There is a new handbook. Blew your mind up. You like, what? There's a handbook? Yes, there's... Oh, Dad. The man, the myth, the legend. Right here. Okay. Stop drifting off topic. Guy sent me a link this morning. We have a new handbook. As of June 2021. It is extremely long, but I am going to leave the information to that link in the video description. Okay? What is it? 286 pages. Wish they had it so we could listen to. But throughout this handbook, there's a bunch of updated information. I scroll through. There's no way I'm reading all that crap. But somebody gets fired. We have this all the time. Hey, I got fired for blah, blah, blah. Can I reapply? I'm going to break down what it says on page 132 and page 133. All right. I'm gonna read it to you. Yo, don't just blow this topic off, because it can happen to you. I'm gonna read it to you, and I will break down everything the best I can, okay? And interpret it the best way I know how. Again, I'm gonna leave a link for this in the description for you guys to scroll through yourself, okay? Handling removals from the Postal Service or other federal employment. Removals mean you got fired. Ready for it? It is Postal Service policy to refuse employment, career or non-career, competitive or non-competitive, to persons who were removed outside the probationary period from the Postal Service or from other federal employment for cause, or who resigned after being notified that charges proposing removal would be or had been issued. What does that mean? If you're career or non-career, competitive or non-competitive, you were removed, you were fired outside of your probationary period. It happens. After your 90 days, I always say it's impossible to get fired. Some people figure it out. I don't know. It also says if you were notified, like, hey, man, you screwed up bad, they probably gonna fire you. You know, crash the vehicle. It's like your 9th time crashing or something like that. Or I don't know, you keep dropping DPS. I don't know what y'all do. But if they say, yeah, this is probably your last straw, and then you decide to quit, this is what we're referring to, okay? In exceptional cases where the Postal Service contemplates appointing such an individual, meaning there are exceptional cases where they can appoint you to a different position. The human resources manager must give prior approval. If the individual is subsequently appointed, his or her official personnel folder must include documentation of the approval. So if you are rehired, it has to go through human resources, and inside your personnel folder, that one folder that you guys never see unless you get real nosy and you're able to go in your boss. If you're able to see it, they're gonna put a slip in there saying that human resources says it's okay for whatever reason. Approval is not required if the former employee was separated for scheme or other qualification failures, meaning you just couldn't do your job. All right, you were just too slow. Okay, nothing dramatic. Like, this person just, they really ain't no good. And if the job for which the applicant applies does not require similar abilities. You got started and you started being a CCA and you just suck. You just suck at being a carrier. You're slow. You're always late, whatever the case is. And it says you couldn't basically get hired back at the Postal Service if it doesn't require you to be a carrier. You failed once as a carrier. They don't think you're not gonna be reappointed as a carrier. Just wait though. All right, so that's how they handle removals for Postal Service or other federal employer. Consideration of other unsatisfactory service. Consideration of other unsatisfactory service. An applicant may be rejected for employment because of previous unsatisfactory service in the private sector, meaning that, one of your personal jobs, the Postal Service or another agency, including debarment by the Office of Personnel Management. See blah, blah, blah for explanation of debarment. The unsatisfactory service must have been long enough to be considered full and fair trial, and the character and service must indicate that the applicant would be unlikely to perform satisfactorily in the new position. So you started as a CCA, and they're supposed to give you, that's where that probationary period comes in, that 90 days, and you just couldn't perform. All right, basically they expect every day for you to get a little bit better, just a little bit better. They don't expect you to be Superman, but they expect you to be a little bit better. So that's where they say the unsatisfactory service must have been long enough to be considered a full and fair trial. So, 3 days, they're not gonna fire you in 3 days unless you're piss poor. They're gonna give you about a month to see if you improved, 2 months or whatever the case is. Situations that warrant concern include, but are not limited to the following: unsatisfactory service during a probationary period or a temporary appointment in the same or another installation resulting in a termination. That makes sense? So that means you didn't perform good as a mail handler during your probationary period. Temporary appointment means during your holiday service or whatever. So if you're applying for a CCA but you were a mail handler before, there should not be any relevance to why they wouldn't hire you, okay, for that specific position. Because being a carrier is one thing, being a mail handler is totally different. Unsatisfactory service during a probationary period for a temporary appointment in the same installation or another installation resulting in a termination. Past failures to satisfy a qualification requirement, scheme qualification, when a similar ability will be required for the new position. Does that make sense? You can't just go the schemes. I don't know what they what do they call them? The PSC, sales service and distribution clerks. Yeah, specific schemes that they got to go by. Anyway, if you didn't satisfy their needs, they're not going to hire you back at the same, same situation. And if your new position requires you to have similar abilities, they won't hire you back for that. Misconduct on a job. We already know what misconduct is. I don't need to explain that. Unstable work record. Y'all know what that means. Don't show up to work. You come to work and you leave early, or you always got issues when you get to work and you got, I don't know, whatever, your roof falls in. Excessive tardiness or absence or poor conduct in previous postal employment. So if you sucked before, you had bad, they're not going to just hire you back. They're like, well, this person was always absent. Ready? Even though no disciplinary action was taken prior to the resignation. Got that? So even if they didn't say anything to you, they didn't write you up for being late all the time or whatever the case is, it's in your records. Every time you swipe that card, they know when you're there and when you're not there. All right? It says, even though no disciplinary action was taken prior to the resignation, could justify rejecting an eligible from consideration if the service was recent and there is no indication that the applicant has improved his or her work habits. How do they know? How do they know? So you left the post office for a year or whatever the case is, then you went with another place, and they see that in your new application, they say, okay, well, they left in 2018, and since 2018, they've had 15 jobs. They know that you're not stable, okay? Woo-hoo-hoo! This is what the individual was talking about. Debarment. Don't even know what that means, but, thinking like, getting, what the hell they calling people? Lawyers? They get debarred or what? Anyway, when the OPM, I don't know what that means, finds a person unsuitable for a reason named in exhibit blah, 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 partial list of reasons for disqualification, the OPM in its discretion may deny that person examination for an appointment to a competitive position for a period of not more than 3 years from the date of determination of unsuitability. So they can basically keep you out of the post office for up to 3 years. This is where the thing gets tricky, when people say, hey, and I've helped you, if you still watch, a lot of y'all still watching, y'all got to let go of whatever case is, or you're trying to come back and you're like, hey, Jay, help me out, and they keep getting rejected. This is what they were looking for. This is it. I'm giving you that information. It says this, from the date of determination of unsuitability, meaning that they figured out on January 1st, you sucked. January 1st, 2021, you sucked. So they have up until January 1st of 2024, 3 years. Basically, they can debar you for that length of time. It's just why I'm just learning this myself. This 3-year period is known as debarment. On expiration of debarment, a person who has been debarred may not be appointed to any position in the competitive service, including postal service, until OPM has redetermined that person's suitability for appointment. I have no idea what this OPM is, but they have the final say so. So if somebody figures out what OPM stands for, leave it in the description, because people don't want to know. All right, so let's go back up. Oh, done lost my screenshot. Nonetheless, we need to know why and what and where, blah, blah, blah. And it's important that you guys realize that this new handbook has that type of information to let you know. Again, it's on page 132, 133. You download it to your phone or whatever it is and just kind of scroll through it. It'll give you the updated information. Now, it also says in there, I can't pull it up because it's just a screenshot. If you are employed and say you're there for 2-3 years and you get arrested drinking and driving, and you a carrier, you still got your license, drinking and driving, and you do 30 days in jail, they can't fire you. They can't. Why? I don't know, but it's in there. I think it's on page 132. Unless you go and kill somebody. So basically, if you get in trouble after you have been appointed your position, career or non-career, they can't fire you for something if you got in trouble while you're working. So, for whatever reason you got into a bar fight. A lot of you women like to bar fight. I know about you guys. You don't have to worry about losing your job. What happens after you're employed, I'm not saying it's null and void. There are some exceptions. I can't pull it up right now, but you guys can do some of the research yourself. I will leave the link to this in the description below. This is again for a lot of people should know this. If you are let go, they do have up to 3 years before they can hire you back, or they don't even have to hire you back. But there used to be something where when they let you go, they let you voluntarily resign, and I'm sure they still have this. But this here is June of this year, so there are a lot of things in here that are just going into effect that I don't know about. As I find more information out, I will share that information with you. I'll scroll through this, but I'm not gonna waste my whole day off looking through this. But if you had issues and you're a carrier, as a carrier or a CCA within your 90 days and they let you go, just make sure that, it's kind of hard to make sure, but the chances are them hiring you back as a CCA immediately at another place is slim. Just don't screw it up where they're like, no, they can't do any other craft. Basically, you're disqualified for the CCA just for your performance at that job. But if you did something outrageous because of your attendance, because of something else that I described in this video, they'll pretty much use that as a blanket reason not to hire you back, period. I hope that kind of made sense. I ain't even read this an hour ago. Okay, so bear with me. If you got more information to add to that, leave it in the video description below. People, read that. Read whoever's offering this information, because again, I'm just a truck driver. I am a dad. I am the man. I am the myth. I am the legend. It's JH, just trying to give a little bit of information. Thank you for the email with that tidbit. I am going to give you my phone number, and we will chop it up and see if we have a remedy to that little situation. Jay always got a little trick up his sleeve, but we ain't gonna speak about that on the video. Some of you guys already know what it is. Woosah. JH with another one. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Good vibes, baby. Good vibes. In the video description. No. In the comment section. Did I tell you already? Good vibes? Whatever. If I did, still type it in the comment section. Good vibes. JH with a long video, but my reading ain't all that great. Ain't got the glasses on. Somebody was complaining because I had my glasses on and the reflection was in their eyes and I didn't realize it, so no glasses on. All right, JH, Gaduchis.